Ever since the dawn of humankind, we've sought the origins of our life and its purpose. Some have chosen to look to science, religion, or philosophy for answers. Many have turned to the great masters such as Lao Tzu, the Buddha, and Jesus Christ for spiritual illumination. Still others have sought truth through their own direct experience. All of us are searching, knowingly or unknowingly, for enlightenment, truth, and harmony in our lives. This program, hosted by Dr. Gregory Penn, will help you aspire to a more fulfilling and rewarding life.
Welcome to Aspire. These offerings that we're going to do with the next, 10, 15 programs, are going to be short, are going to be a wrap-up of my career, my life, and how I created Aspire. We're going to look at clips and answer questions that people have had about Aspire, and all the things that I said that maybe didn't get clarified with you. Anyway, we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some insight. And on top of it all, maybe I'll get to cry a little bit over all this, because this is the last offering I'll be giving the public. As my guru, my own guru for TV, is Mitch Marabak. He's here with me. He has done everything. He has been my heart, my soul. He went to India with me, drugged me through all sorts of weird places that we went and had a wonderful time, and tried to film what it was like to be in an enlightened atmosphere, as it were. It has been an interesting journey, and I couldn't have done it without Mitch and Shredder.
Thank you.
Both of you.
Thank you. It's been an awesome trip.
It has been interesting.
And, you know, we did 226 Aspire episodes, including special meditation videos.
Wow.
Over 36 years.
Over 30? Who knew? And we don't have to rush this either. We can just sit here and...
I know.
And we won how many Emmys?
Oh, man, I can't even remember.
I think 6 Emmys, 7 Tellys, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But just think of all the people that have seen the program over the years,
Yeah.
and have been touched by it, you know. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, our next door neighbor used to watch you in the 80s, you know. And I just found out that because I got a haircut there.
Every so often, as I told you, I'll get a phone call from San Diego, and people will say, hey, you know, I remember you. My kids watched you. I watched you as a kid. Now my kids are watching.
Yep.
Who knew?
Yep. And all my kids have been in the show.
Yeah, every one of them.
And they've all worked on the show.
Right. One of them butt naked, and
Yeah.
that was really fun.
That's right.
I love that one. That was Dustin, wasn't it?
It was Dustin.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back in time now.
All right.
And I'm going to put up some photos, and I want you to give some commentary, particularly if you have anything that relates it to your spiritual quest and what you did in your career, okay? So let's go way, way back. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Now, who's that?
That's my mother and father. Ed is the one with the tie, and the other one in the dress is Gene.
Thanks for clarifying.
Those two were, to say the least, idiots.
Oh.
Not really.
All right. Here's another
And
shot.
that's their wedding day, this picture. And that isn't far from the truth. I think that said it all right there.
Oh.
Yeah, they were...
They argued a lot? And they did this in front of you?
Oh, all the time.
Oh.
They got in a big fight once, screwing in a light bulb. I'm not kidding. You know the old joke, how many pull-locks does it take to screw it? Well, how many pens does it take to screw in a light bulb? Yeah. You know, I got to say this to you. If it weren't for them and the way they lived their life and how cruel they were, I may not be sitting here. Because it started a process in me of wondering, is this all there is?
Right.
And I never took them. I always looked at them and thought, do I want to live their life? Do I want to turn out like this?
So they led you by bad example. And you didn't want that.
I didn't want it. I didn't want it. No, that's a very good way of putting it. They led me by bad example.
Well, despite their entanglements here, they still produced you.
Yeah, well, that's the question. I think it was immaculate, but yeah, that's me. That's hard to believe. And there I am, trying to figure it all out.
Looks
My
like
mother-
you're. Never mind. We won't
No,
talk
I'm
about
not
what you're
doing that.
All right.
So this is a very important picture
Okay.
because this is my mother and father's idea of getting rid of me. They sent me to military school.
At that age, how
Yes.
old were you?
Oh, probably 5.
Oh,
4 or
good
5.
grief.
A Ramsey Military School.
Oh.
Yeah, they left me there, and the damage done there. Look at the hair. Look at how bright it was.
Yeah.
That's a signature picture. What you don't see in the picture is all the freckles.
Okay.
So, which made me the person from Mars. And kids just did not like me because of my hair and my freckles. But yeah, I remember that picture. I remember I wouldn't smile, and they kept saying, smile, smile. And finally, I eked one out.
Ah. Well then.
Oh.
There's this. What is this? You don't have to talk about it if you don't want.
No, I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
Walt Disney was my godfather. And my parents had the idea after a certain period of time that I should be doing the Musketeers, which I did audition for. I should have brought the little shirt. I still have my Mickey Mouse shirt.
Does it say Gregory on it?
No, it just says Mickey Mouse.
Oh, okay.
In those days, they had not decided on who was going to do what. That was me doing a number. A former student of mine found that at Disneyland. He was going for a job. All these photos were laying there. He looked at this picture and come to find out, he goes, "Is that you?" And yeah, that's me. So how that serendipitously happened.
You were a song and dance
I
band.
am
I
a
had
song.
no idea.
Yeah, I could have. I didn't have to do this gig. Anyway, I was turned off by it. I did not. I fell in love with Annette Funicello. Of course, we all did.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the TV thing. Mine was with Cubby. Do you remember who Cubby was?
Yeah, he was
the drummer.
Yeah.
And we do Miska Muska Musketeer, and then the doors would open.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did that together.
How cool.
And then I decided to drop out, and
Okay.
that made my parents very angry, and therefore they cut me out of everything.
Oh my goodness.
But I've had students who have seen me evidently somewhere in the archives on YouTube.
There's got to be some of that
There's
on YouTube.
got to be some of it.
All right, we'll hunt for it.
Oh, no.
And then there you are.
Oh,
Tell me about that.
6th grade camp coming home was a tumultuous experience for me. It was every year 6th graders got to go to camp. And that's me coming home from it. I didn't particularly have a great time.
Oh.
But my mother said, "Stand there and take a picture of you."
Yeah.
So there you are.
Okay.
There's Gene
Uh-huh.
and Greg at a friend's house. And there I'm about, I'd say 11, 12 years old.
Okay.
Surfer. There's my father and me. They got a divorce. I went to his house for Christmas,
Yeah.
and there we are,
Okay.
pretending like we love each other.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's all right.
Well, tell me about this.
Oh my God. Oh, I always wanted a Jerry Mahoney doll,
Uh-huh.
and I never got one. And that I used to dream about a Jerry Mahoney doll, and finally, there it is in my bat cave. There's Jerry Mahoney with that's Rudy Tootie.
Okay.
And he's from New York, Rudy Tootie. And I wanted one with moving eyes.
Yeah.
I found one on eBay and bought it.
Oh,
So I finally got my.
okay. And it
Mine.
says how to be a ventriloquist.
ventriloquist.
And did you take that? And then did you use that skill?
Yes.
You did Master Dow.
There's Master Dow. Yes, what a skill I learned. not very good, but I did learn a skill of doing that. I love Master Dow. I think some of the mail I got when we did that, Mitch, was that he creeped people out.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't see him as creepy, but
We had a lot of
Didn't
fun
he
with
grab your wife's breasts?
He did.
He did,
one
didn't he?
time, and
Yeah.
he had to go get some counseling.
Right,
for
makeup.
that.
Yeah, and I told him I didn't want to talk to him about it,
Yeah.
but he wanted. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hopefully he's back. In
Oh,
the
he's
swing.
getting better.
All right.
He's in my office.
All right. Well, now let's just take a look at a clip here, because you were talking about family and everything, and there was somebody from one of your students wanted to know how to let go of family ties, to pursue a spiritual path. How do you let go of them without, conflict or being unkind?
It's really, really.
Let's look at this clip from Nobody Likes You Anyway. All right.
We have strayed very far away from the spiritual premise in the Western culture, and we scoff at the idea of the whole concept of spirituality as a path to love. What is the path to love? Well, Jesus kind of put it out there. He gave us a price that we had to pay if we were going to ever know love. He said, your greatest enemies will be those of your own household. You won't hear ministers talking about that on Father's Day and Mother's Day. He said, unless a man hate not his mother, his father, his brother, his sister, his lands, yea, even his own life, he cannot follow me. Brings a new meaning to Good Friday, doesn't it? Now you know why they crucified him. He was going counterculture. He was saying, unless you're willing to leave your family and follow the path on the inside, to follow real love, to let go of all the ties that you believe in, keep you bound into love, the love of your body, your mind, your thoughts, you're not worthy of the path of love. And he was right. He was saying, go for it all. And if you're not willing to, then you'll never know the path of real love.
I don't think there is anyone who would have said that on TV but me. I think I'm the only one. And those aren't, of course, my words. But I do agree with them. And I think that's why I incarnated in this world, to have the parents I had, so I would be removed enough to go a spiritual path. Otherwise, I would have done what most people would do, and that'd be drugs and alcohol. That party and get drunk and all that other. Psychedelics were big in my era. So my students, they know what I'm trying to do. There aren't, it's one thing to make a spiritual path an ideal and a philosophy, and there's something else to live it. Buddha left his parents, he obviously.
Sure.
They all do. You can't live in the environment of a family where there is...
Is there too much distraction?
Not only that, but there is family love, and that is not real love. And you're right, there is a huge distraction. And the real path, you have to focus. You have to be totally into it. And you've also got to see how the human body works and what the brain is doing with all the chemicals in the brain. The serotonins, how the synapses are firing off, everything, the testosterone, the estrogen. You've got to take that all into account. And when you look at your mother and you think, she made me, this is what women love to believe, that they make babies. They don't really acknowledge they need us. But you start to fall into an emotional pattern that doesn't allow you to meditate. So when people are having difficulty in meditation or awakening, even remotely, they don't take into account what their family has established in them, in their mind, in their body, because your body belongs to your mother and father. This is not my body, this is Ed and Jean. This is what they derived out of the whole thing. So there's a lot of information in here at a cellular level. Information telling me what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. It's telling me what I want. And I find it interesting that people blindly make babies. I find that fascinating. They assume they understand what this world is all about. Oh, you grow up, you get an education, you find a man, you have sex with him, you make babies, you get married, maybe not in that order, But nonetheless, and then when it's all said and done with, you hope you have enough people around you in the form of family and kids and offspring that didn't do anything with their life other than survive, and hope they're around you when you die. Now, when I go to hospice, and I've been doing that for 30 some years, rarely are the family around the person who's leaving. They're too busy, they're working, they got their family, and they're not there. And so this poor person is laying there in bed dying with only me, a stranger.
Oh.
No, it's the way it is.
Oh. Yeah.
And nobody wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, your family's going to betray you. And it's sad, it's pathetic. You know, get along with your brother, get along with your sister. I hear it all the time. But you're going to have to separate from them emotionally and psychologically. But if you do, then you can love them and be around them.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, you can be around them. You can love them even more because you won't love them as a part of you. You will love them as you would everyone, humankind as a whole.
Right, and then everyone's your family.
Everybody's your family.
Fantastic.
That's the key. But people don't want that. They want to be, well, my family's better than your family. We're of a higher.
Right.
So they don't, that elitism, that monopoly that they want to have over other people, and thinking, you know, we turn into these narcissistic animals.
Right.
And so this is the Penn house, and over here is the Murback house, and over here is, you know, the Smith house. And,
Yeah.
you know, well,
It's not a contest.
well, not only that, but we're not building oneness.
Yeah.
And then you have all the prejudice that you've inherited, you know, from your body,
Right.
from your parents. You know, things come out of me and I go, where did that come from? You know, what was that all about? And how come I didn't have this prejudice or that And then you start realizing where it came from. You know, when Jesus used the word hate, unless you hate your mother or your father, that's powerful stuff. Ministers don't talk about that. No minister wants to talk about that. I remember when we did this on Aspire and the mail I got on it and how, you know, what are you saying? What are you doing? You're a heretic and all that other stuff. Well, the word hate in Aramaic means to put away, not to hate, like we think of it. So our value system, when you're listening to an awakened spiritual master, and you listen to what he or she is saying, you're not listening to the context of a Greg Penn, okay? You're listening to something deeper, more profound. And people tend to take everything literally. You can't take people literally. You got to love them where you find them and love them as they are. But that doesn't mean you succumb to them.
Okay.
You know, you understand what I mean by succumb? So, you know, you're a mood, you're in a whim, you're in one of your snits. How can I help you? Well, you got to do this, this, and this. Well, that crosses a line in me that I can't do for you because that would, you know, hurt me, spiritually speaking, in my own awakening. Oh, now you got real. You don't love me. I'm your brother. I'm your sister. You know, Jesus didn't help everyone.
Right.
He didn't.
Wow.
Neither did Buddha. You know, Buddha ran from his brothers who were chasing him down to kill him all of his life.
Really?
Yeah, because he didn't become the king. You see, when he was born, the astrologers said he's either going to be a great spiritual leader or a great king.
Yeah.
Well, he chose the latter,
Right.
you know, to be a spiritual leader,
He didn't fill his familiar role.
or what they think was his duty as a son.
Yeah.
And so his father's kingdom fell to his enemies, and they blamed Siddhartha for that.
Yeah.
And by then he had already gone into Gautama and then into the Buddha. Okay. And so, why do you think he lived in a forest all of his life? you know, that's not a...
He was stealth camping.
Right, and he had a wife and kids, and they were after him too.
Alimony.
Yeah.
All right, you want to look at a few more slides?
Whatever you want.
All right. This was a pivotal moment in your life, I know. So tell me about this.
Judah Ben-Hur. Oh, no. What an experience. That was the turning point in my life. I was depressed. Oh. The look on his face as he's giving water to Jesus. You have to understand, in the beginning of the movie, Jesus had given him water in the desert to keep him alive.
Right. He's
Right
there. The
there.
centurion wouldn't let him drink.
Right.
He's hopeless, down on the ground,
And he
just
said,
totally
God,
broken.
God help me. And then these loving hands come down and bring him water.
Then what happens?
Well, then his life is saved. And then later on in the movie, when Jesus is going up to Calvary to be killed, he drops the cross out of exhaustion, and he runs over and gets a bowl of water and brings it to him and hands it to him. And he realized that that was the same man that helped him in the desert. And he touched his hand. Just in the East, you don't do that. You do not do that. You don't touch anyone, especially in those days, because they had leprosy and all that other stuff. And it was in that moment that he was, the book Ben-Hur, he was converted, but I don't see it that way. He was awakened. He saw in the eyes of this man that was being killed for no reason at all.
And so he got enlightened, and
No, I don't think he was enlightened,
not
but he
enlightened,
was
but
changed.
he got the spark, and he was changed, and the same thing happened to you.
So in the theater here in San Diego, I'm sitting there, and it was at the Capri Theater, which is now a porno house, I hear. Anyway, how things have changed. And I'm sitting there, and the scene pops up. I will remember the fanfare, first of all. The fanfare was just da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I remember sitting there feeling Miklos Rosa's art. I could feel the vibration of the music, that there was a majesty in this world that was greater than what I was going through with my mother and father. And without knowing it, and not really knowing why, the minute I heard that, I stood up. And I was I was there, I think for my birthday. It must have been my 10th birthday or 11th birthday. I had, 3 or 4 kids there, and I just stood up. I was captivated. Finally, I had found the answer. I didn't know what the answer was, though. And I didn't calculate that. So, they pull me down and sit there. And then when the scene comes up 2 times in the movie, I just sat there and wept. Put down my popcorn. I cried because I knew this is how I'm going to overcome Ed and Jean. This is what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to be Judah Ben-Hur.
And so this is in high school?
Yeah.
And the question I have is, now you've decided that you're going to find out who you are, and you're going to go out and
Yes.
seek what it is you need to find.
Yeah. I had already started.
And then how did your parents take that? This is our last question, and let me know what they thought about you doing what you had to do.
My father was, son, do what you want. My mother was, you'll never do it. That was it. But I had already started, I had started the correspondence course at Unity back in Lee's Summit, Missouri. And by that time that picture was taken, I had completed the whole course. No one was ever that young and completed it, but I had to do it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for all of that insight. And our next episode, we're going to talk about your next steps and what you did after all of this.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
My honor. Thank you
you.
all.